Good morning. Good morning, Mike Whaley and John Mack and Ed and Scalda and Matrix. How you guys doing? Oh, it is too early. I did not brush my hair. I just threw a hat on. I woke up like 12 minutes ago. I went, oh, I got to get up there and get things set up. Get ready to get going. How you guys doing? Oh, morning, Joe. I need to sit down and do some things to make this all a little more entertaining. I guess I need to figure out some music while the stream starting soon screen is on, and maybe some background music or something, to play softly in the background like Walter does. Makes it. I think it'd make the stream a little more interesting. Rover, good morning, sir. How are things in Vegas? No, no thongs. No, no. So, well, we're gonna do some modeling today. We are, um, but I also want to chat a little bit. Uh, Chris Lane from Venturi 3D. He started his Kickstarter, and I guess hold on here. I forgot to. It's gonna eat up the bandwidth. I forgot to stop the video itself playing live once I started it because that eats up bandwidth. Um, Chris Lane, Venturi 3D. He started his Kickstarter, and I'm really excited for him. I hope it goes well. And the early bird special on it is great, really. The first 50 people that back it at $999 get one of the printers, and the printer looks phenomenal. It's 4-color and a Core XY, and so $1,000. That price, right there, it'd be hard to beat, really. When you stop and think that the Creality CRX is dual color and is $800. So $200 more, and you're getting a Olsen Ruby nozzle or a hardened steel nozzle if you prefer. 4 rolls of filament. It prints 4 colors. I mean, you're getting all that for $1,000. If I had an extra $1,000 laying around right now, I would do it in a heartbeat. The one thing I did not see, and maybe I just overlooked it because I just kind of, like I said, I woke up 12 minutes ago and looked at the Kickstarter before I came up here to get things started, and I did not see anywhere on there, and maybe it was there, but they need to make it more prominent. So Chris Lane, if you come back and watch this at some point, you need to put on your Kickstarter page the build volume of the printer, because it is not evident. It's not easy to find. Good morning, David Olson and Ryan Butchram. It's good to see you guys this morning. It really is. And I got a new subscriber. I don't think they're here right now, but 3D Printing Trucker followed me on YouTube here. So if he goes back to watch this later, welcome. And yeah, this is great. Got some giveaways going on there, Rover. I will have to check that out later, not while I'm doing this. 3D pen. Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, but yeah, Venturi 3D. The printer looks great. It does, and if it works as good as it looks, I think he's on the right path, and I know they're kind of building machine to target educators, because it's a fully enclosed Core XY, 1,000+ pre-sliced models at your disposal. 7-inch touchscreen. I mean, the printer looks fantastic. I mean, uh, the Bondtech extruder. Um, it's definitely mechanically speaking, a superior machine to just about anything that's out there right now, especially in that price point. Um, you compare that to like that Ultimaker. Um, that's what, $5,000. Uh, it seems like a no brainer. Man, I need a haircut. My hair's now you can see why I threw a hat on, right? Oh well, then I bet that's where 3D printing trucker came from. So very cool, awesome. I will have to will have to thank Sean for sending him my way. But yeah, he's already got Chris Lane's already got 2 backers at that $1,000 price point, um, for the early bird special. But even the next tier is like $1,200, and is the same thing. And even at $1,200, it's worth it. If I had $1,000 that I could spend in my bank account right now, I would absolutely back it. Would absolutely back it. So yeah, if you guys are in the market for a machine and you have that in your budget, go check it out, and support one of our own, support the community, and support a new printer coming to the community, and doing some great things. It's fantastic. So let's see here. Well, let's get. Let me minimize this. Move my chat over here so I can still see it once I do that. And I wanted to bring up a couple things here. All right, so Roy Holly printed my truck, and he's been kind enough to share with me some things that need improvement, and I've been working on that a little bit yesterday. So I'm going to experiment with printing the cab as one piece, including the doors, so that the doors have a built-in hinge, and it just all prints in one piece. Now, the one thing that I may not be able I probably am not going to end up using Idea Maker for this, which is what I sliced it in first, because Idea Maker says this is going to take 31 hours to print, and I can't find anything in my settings that justify it being a 31-hour print, especially when I turn around and I slice it with basically the same settings in Cura, and Cura says it's 14 hours to print. So I I don't understand why there's such a vast difference. So sometimes it is beneficial to slice something in multiple slicers, just to see how the slicer handles it, and what sort of time estimations it gives you. And it could be Idea Maker is totally off base as far as what its time estimation is, or it could be the Cura is totally off. Now I know Cura often seems to run a little short on its times. It'll tell you it's I've had several things that said they were a 5-hour print and they took 6 hours, but I don't see something telling me that it's a 14-hour print and taking 31. So yeah, there's the. Okay, oh man, it's so early this morning, so early. So I just accidentally right-clicked and moved my 3D cursor, which I didn't want to do. So I will put the 3D cursor back. How you do that, the N key opens this little menu. And the easiest way to put the 3D cursor back is just to come down here, find 3D cursor, and 0 it out in the X, Y, and Z. There, you can see that. When you do that, that puts the 3D cursor back in the middle, because that's something you're going to do if you play with Blender. You're going to do it a lot, because even as much as I've played with Blender, I still do it. You accidentally right-click somewhere when you mean to middle-click, and when you right-click, it moves the 3D cursor. So to put it back in the center, all you do, hit N, bring up this, go down to where under the 3D cursor there, and just 0 it out. It's that easy. So yeah, there was the cab as I combined it all together into one piece with print in place hinges, which I even thickened them up a little bit to try to add a little more support to the hinge, because the door hinges were previously abysmal when you printed them out. They were awful. So I'm trying to improve that. But that's the thing with any of my designs, that I put them up on Thingiverse. If you print them out and you find a problem, let me know that there's a problem. Let me know what's wrong with it, and I will try to fix it. On my to-do list, a guy printed my dumpster, and he had a problem with it, saying the hinges were flimsy. Now he got a little hurtful in the way he said it. When he left his review, he got a little hurtful, but that's okay. I got thick skin. I'm been a musician my whole life, so I'm used to the harsh nature of people's criticism. It's okay. I've been told no by every record label in town, just like many other artists that have come before me. Yeah, and his dumpster that he printed out and finished, he painted it up nice, and it looks great. He was a little harsh in his comments, just basically saying, I wish the model was better, and I found another one, and you should print that one instead. And I'm like, okay, well, how about just being a little more constructive and saying, okay, I had some problems with the hinge. The hinge was a little flimsy. If the designer fixes the hinge, it'll be great, whatever. But that's not what he did. So I will. It's on my to-do list. I'm going to go back and revisit that hinge and see if I can't make it stronger, and maybe I can figure out a way to make it print in place without adding a whole ton of supports. The cab, fixing its hinges and making them a print in place situation doesn't really add much in the way of supports, because you were going to have supports filling up that doorway anyway. You turned it anyway. So now instead you're just printing the door with fewer supports. So it's actually decreasing the total number of supports and increasing the functionality of the print. So good morning, Ben Craig. Yeah, Matrix. I doubt it. Nothing. At least not my grandson, man. Nothing is Sean proof. Sean is my 4-year-old grandson. He likes Skylanders, and he plays the Skylanders game, and he's got a bunch of little Skylanders figurines. None of his Skylanders have all of their arms and legs and heads. None of them. So, good morning, Vince, and good morning, Mike, Red Light. So yeah, he's rough on anything he gets his hands on, man. He just he likes to destroy. He does. and it's almost cute. You'll find him doing something, doing something like tearing something up, and you'll say, Sean, no, and he goes, yep. He won't look at you, and he'll just say, yep, and keep doing it, and keep doing it faster. Once you catch him, he speeds up. He's a handful. I love him to death, but he's a handful. So yeah, I've combined the door with the cab, so now they all should print as one piece. The hinge is a thicker print in place hinge now, and I tightened up the tolerances on it because the tolerances were a little too big, so the door was kind of floppy, and so hopefully this makes it better. I won't know until I get a chance to print it. Like I said, right now it's a 14-hour print according to Kira, and a 31-hour print according to Idea Maker. So, but now that I've got this A-net where it at least can print, I can try printing something of that size. Before, I had to break the cab up when I printed mine, so I didn't realize the difficulties that were presented with the hinge. I did, when I put mine together, it wasn't the greatest as far as structural, but I didn't know if that was because I printed it in so many pieces and had to try to glue it together, and that messed with things. But Roy Holly printed his out, and he printed his in one piece, the cab, I think. So, and he had the same problems. So that led me to come back and revisit this a little bit. Mouth of the Midwest. Oh, you guys are awesome. You guys are. Speaking of the devil, Roy Holly, I was just talking about you printing the truck, man, and some of the things that were wrong with it when you printed it, and so now I've redesigned the cab, Roy. I've redesigned the cab so the doors are part of the cab, and the hinge should print in place all as one piece, and then you'll just have to clean the supports out because there will be supports around the crack of the door, so you'll just have to take a needle nose plier and pull the supports out that separate the cracks of the door and the little pieces of the hinge. But it should work. I will find out. I'm going to print it maybe today if I get over there and spend the time to get the A-net up and running. And it's supposed to be a 14-hour print, and today will be the only day I have time to do that and babysit the printer, which I prefer to do. So yeah, the country club is in the house. Roy Holly, the man that printed and finished my truck before I could print and finish my truck. I printed all my truck, but because I printed mine on a Tronx EX1, I printed it in so many pieces, everything needed to be glued together. Yeah. That does limit you as far as the multicolor thing, unless you have a printer with dual extruders. So I mean, yeah, your doors are going to be the same colors as your cab, but the hinge should be much more stable. Which I think is the most important thing of the model, that it be more structural. Mine, even after gluing and filling and sanding and priming and painting, was still not very structural, and my 4-year-old grandson completely destroyed it, and I'm sad. You can see the pieces of it over there on the shelf. It's all it's dead, and so I need to reprint my cab anyway because he just totally wrecked mine. Yeah, there you go, Ben. And Ben, I got to give you kudos, man, because you are you're about the only YouTuber I know that is taking the time to to dial in a Zone Star and to support that manufacturer. And at their price point, you can't expect a machine that is just, great and ready to go straight out of the box. And so I commend you for that. I do, because everybody else that I've ever seen review or anything of that nature, unbox, build a Zone Star machine on their videos, just they slap it together, and then when it doesn't work exactly the way they wanted it to, they just rip it apart and review wise, and then they never touch it again. Yeah, and I've seen some of your prints, man, and it's looking great. And it takes time, and that's the thing that's the drawback, I think, to the race to the bottom, as it were, as far as inexpensive. I hate using the word cheap when it comes to machines, but inexpensive 3D printers. Some of them have earned the name cheap, because they're garbage, and they're, no matter what you do, you can't get them to print, but for the most part, you look at companies like Zone Star, their machines may take a little time to dial in and whatnot, but I wouldn't call them garbage. They need a lot of extra attention and maybe a few printed upgrades. So I would not recommend them for a first printer for somebody just getting started in this. Red light. Ben wants an Ender 3. I want an Ender 3. Anybody want to buy me one and send it to me? I'll take it. Yes, I can do that. I can do that, Roy. We can do that right now. So let me save this. Where is it? See, this is why I know I don't do this often enough anymore. I can't. Oh. MVS truck cab fixed test. Save Blender file. So let's do that. Let us do that right now. What is that? Delete that. Okay. So here's this. We're going to copy that. We'll move it into its own layer. So what I'm doing there, down here at the bottom, you see this? This works like layers do in any other program like Photoshop or whatever. These are multiple layers. So if you're working on an individual part, sometimes it's helpful to just copy it and move it over to another layer, and then you can play with it on that layer, and you can keep your first layer completely intact. See, so I don't mess with anything that's on the original layer when I did the initial design. If I want to go in and change something, I just move it to its own layer. I find a blank layer, like this one's blank, so just choose one of these other layer boxes down here, and then I can paste it into that layer, and now I can work on it independent of anything else. So let's rotate it. Actually, I don't even need to rotate it. See, and another part of the reason I designed the grill the way that I did, so that it was a single piece like this, is I can totally change up the look of the truck just by designing a new grill for it. Oh yeah, Ryan, you got Mike good there, man. Really. Why buy printers and leave them in the box, Mike? Don't do that. Don't do that. Unbox that thing. Get it put together. Do a build stream. We'll all come in. We'll watch. Build it and get it printing, and then yeah, of course, I'm guilty of. I don't print things very often. I'm guilty of that because I'm not someone who, I don't trust either one of those printer. I don't trust either one of them to print when I'm not watching them. And so that basically leaves me either small prints or Tuesday. Tuesday is the only day that I can sit and monitor those printers closely. And even then, I don't, I shy away from a really long print because it ties me down all day. That's why I'm looking at that 14-hour print of the cab and going, oh, I don't trust either one of those printers to leave them alone for 14 hours, and I hate to tie myself to this house for 14 hours on my only day off. You'll watch anything but another Ender 3. Yeah, well, yeah, anybody needing Ender 3 videos, Neries has built 4 of them on live streams. Oh, okay. So Roy wants the turn signals to be lowered to a height lower than so all I did was select those faces and move them. Does that look like that'll work for you there, Roy? Oh, awesome, Roy! That would be fantastic. Now, it may turn out to be a waste of plastic, man. I'll warn you ahead of time, because if my my idea doesn't pan out, then you may have yourself a second cab that has just as many problems as the first. Okay, so we will take this. I'm going to hit save. I'm going to copy this again. We're going to start whoops. I'm going to hit Control N for a new file, enter, delete the square. Paste. We've got just that. Turn off isometric view. Let's drag this down to the center here a little more. And then we're going to rotate it 90 degrees. All right. So file, export. Oh wait, before exporting anything, remember when talking about add-ons for Blender in a previous video, and this is kind of a recap for anybody who didn't see this before. There is a great add-on that you must have if you're going to use this for 3D printing, and it is the 3D printing toolbox. You install that add-on, and then you can check your model. You click check all, make sure it has no non-manifold edges after you check it. So before you export your STL, make sure it's manifold. If it's not, you gotta take some time to fix it, but as luck would have it, we click check all. We went down here, non-manifold edges, 0. Awesome. We're ready to export it. So we're going to export STL. And I'm just going to put it on the desktop for now. And we're going to say MVS Grill version 2. Now, the other thing that you need to do when you export, and I know I've said this before, but I'm going to just recap this kind of stuff every time I do it, because if I do and repetitively tell you guys the things that need to be done, then hopefully it'll stick. When you go to export an STL file, after you've given it a name, come down here to scale, and the scale needs to be 1000. If you don't do that, you'll have some of the same problems that Sholem has when he exports his STLs, and they will be tiny. And I don't know what programs that Sholem and his boys are using to do their design work. I don't know if they have the ability to do the multiplier right in the export like this does. But I think that's what's happening. I think that's why, like, Rodin's gun was this big. What's going on, Walter? We are iterating some stuff right now on the truck that Roy Holly printed, because there were some things that were wrong with what I did. So I'm trying to fix and iterate those designs right now. I'm sharing that process with everybody. Right now we have fixed the grill so that he can do multi-layer, multi-color printing on the grill and get the turn signals to be a different color than the headlights. And so we've done that. We're exporting it, scale 1000, export STL. So, Roy, how about if I just go ahead and upload version 2 of the cab and version 2 of the grill to Thingiverse? Because I mean, it's on Thingiverse, it's been posted as a work in progress, and if I just put it up where those files are also available to people, then they can download them and start with that if they choose to. It'll give them the option, and then once it's been printed out and tested, if it works better than the original, then I can remove the original. I think that that seems like a potentially good plan. So we're going to go here, Thingiverse. Remember me again, remember me again, Thingiverse, remember me, that I tell you every time I log in and you never remember me. Can you tell I get irritated with that? That's okay. I've been called Tricky Ricky before. It happens. Okay. So, let's go to my things. I wonder sometimes if people actually, that are sharing their stuff get tips. If it ever happens. Let's see. Or if it works when it does, because a lot of things don't work on Thingiverse. So we're going to the truck. And here, we're going to edit thing. Browse. Desktop. MVS Grill version 2. Did that work? Did that upload that? It did. There it is. MVS Grill version 2. And then browse. Truck cab version 2. Okay, so the grill and the cab version 2s are available on Thingiverse now. Oh, well, as soon as I hit save, are now available. And I should probably edit. Summary. Which, Roy, if you don't mind, at some point, post a pic and a make on Thingiverse on your truck, so you can share that with the world. I would truly appreciate that. Because I never got to a chance to finish my truck before it got destroyed, so I was so close to posting a make, it was scary. All right, so let's do this. 7/31/2018. Added version 2 for the grill and cab. They have not been tested yet. Version 2 of the grill. I can't type today. Man, it's early. Version 2 of the grill should allow for color swap, layer height to print in multiple colors. Version 2 of the cab features print in place hinges for the doors and combines the doors into the cab. Save. Whenever I make a change like that, I like to let people know. You know, Ryan, you are the second person to ask me that in the last like 8 hours, and I've never have. I've designed things for people and you know not charge them anything for it, like when I did the stool for Chris Riley. But I really, you know, I just, you know, I'm kind of still a novice at this myself. Yeah, Roy's truck is awesome. Roy did a great great job with that. I was blown away, and that's why I want to make it better, because it was, you know, obvious that some things needed improvement. When I saw his as good a job as he did with it and all of the color swaps he did with it, I mean, his dash was gorgeous. The dash was amazing, and that also lets me know I need a better printer, because the best version, the best job I could do of the dash didn't look anywhere near that good. My steering wheel came out like absolute garbage, and I need to try to beef it up a little bit, I think, too. So that's, you know, on the list of things to do. I need to beef up the support pieces that go between the ring and the center hub. Thank you for stopping by, Walter, on your break. I appreciate it, man. And have a good day at work, brother. Enjoy, and we will see you this evening for your evening show. So now, yeah, we've got. See if it showed up here. It already showed up. Cool. So there's version 2 of the cab is showing up in thing view already, and version 2 of the grill. So yeah, it all should be on Thingiverse and ready to go for anybody who feels up to testing my print in place hinges. And if it doesn't work out on the cab, because I know that's quite a bit of plastic and quite a bit of time, I apologize profusely. But no, back to the to Ryan's question. I've never done commission design work, but I'm, you know, it's not that I'm not willing. It's that between working as many hours in a day as I do, or in a week as I do, and being the novice that I am, it may take me a lot longer to get something finished than most people that are paying money for something would be willing to wait. Because I don't work fast. I don't. And you know, I kind of do this in my spare time, and I do what I can when I have time to do it. But you know, you can see on Thingiverse how often I upload new models. That I don't upload them that often. You know, let's go check out our analytics. Yeah, you don't get a whole lot of downloads, but yeah, I can go and look at. That's the thing I love about Thingiverse, though, is the analytics, because I can go back and I forget when my first model was, sometime in March, so I'll just go back to February. I can look at my models and see how many times they've been viewed, how many times they've been downloaded, likes, comments, and etc. I can see how many each one has, and just, the wall extension that I made for the traffic barrier just is getting no love at all. No one apparently likes wall extensions for traffic barriers, but they like the traffic barrier. Well, I'm sure they would, Ben. I don't even know if you can call what I do high quality, because if it was high quality, I wouldn't have to come back and iterate my design so often. And that's the thing I'm afraid of, um, taking money from somebody to make something, and then the design needs to be iterated. I'm afraid that they will get angry that it wasn't right the first time, because I know how people can be. Because I used to do, when I was a kid, I would do commission artwork for people, because I used to be an artist. um, I would do commission artwork for people, drawings and paintings and things like that. And whenever they would pay me money, and I would draw the thing that they wanted drawn, it, it would either take longer than they were expecting it to take, or when they get it, they didn't like something about it, and then they would get hateful that they'd given me this money and they weren't happy with the product. And that that's a tough pill to swallow, because you're like, you can't just say, look, man, I did my best, here you go. It's a customer, so they're not happy, so you'd go back and you'd draw the thing over again, or you go back and try to fix the painting, whatever they wanted done to it. And it was a nightmare. And I'm afraid that the 3D design stuff would end up doing the same thing. So I'm moving slow this morning. I'm sorry, guys. I really am. It was a rough night at work last night. No, red light, especially since I've already screwed it up. And dude, you've given me more than I could ever repay you. I would not be streaming right now without you. So no, absolutely not. I would not accept it. I would not accept it. And I'm actually disappointed in myself that I haven't got that coin done for you yet. And then when the file got corrupted and wouldn't open, I was really bummed, because I'm like, okay, now I got to start over, and I've been going too slow as it is. So no, I will get it done, and no, absolutely, I would not accept 1 penny from you for it. No. I will get it though. I will, and I'm sorry it's taken me as long as it already has. So I apologize. I don't know if I showed you guys this, the modern gas pump that I was working on, 1/18 scale. And when I get it where I want it, I think that'll be a popular item on Thingiverse, because I still got to do the pump handles. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to design it, because it's 1/18 scale, it's so small. I'm going to design it so that it has a hole in the bottom of the pump handle, and where the pumps attach. I keep pointing at the screen like you guys can see where I'm pointing on the screen. And where these are 1.75 millimeter openings, so that you just cut yourself a piece of filament to use as the hose. I think that'll work. So then when I put it up on Thingiverse, it'll be, you just print this out, you print the little handles out, you cut yourself pieces of filament in length, and glue them in right there and on the bottom of the handle, and it'll look like a gas pump. And I think it'll be a popular item when I get it done, because it not only will cater to the action figure market, So not only to the action figure market, but to the 1/18 scale diecast. Because people that make dioramas for their 1/18 scale diecast, I want to be able to approach that market as well. So I'm going to do gas pumps. I plan on doing modern, then some of the ones like you've seen in the like 70s and 80s, and then doing some old school ones with like the little globe things on top. You know, where back when they used to have the ceramic globes on top, and make those all available, and then do some, maybe do a basic gas station the way that I did my guard shack. Thanks for stopping by, Ben. Yeah, I know there's people out there needing air conditioning work, I'm sure. Yes, thank you for hitting likes and all that, and helping to support the channel that way. That's, you know, especially in the early goings here, that's important, is you know, the view time and the interaction with my audience. That's, you know, probably the most important thing, getting this thing going. So yeah, just in case there are any non-subscribers lurking in the background, just kind of watching, if you want to see modeling stuff and hang out with me in the mornings, I'm going to do this on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And subscribe if you want to hang out with us and design stuff and have fun, or try to have fun. That's what I'm, you know, always aspiring to do. It's just, you know, enjoy life. Life's too short not to enjoy it. So yeah, there's the gas pump. And now we'll move on to, we were working on, so Roy, if you're still here, we've you can see the original cab. 3D Maker Kid, good morning. Oh, that's okay. I was almost late. I woke up 12 minutes before it was time to start the stream. And then I didn't feel like jumping up and rushing immediately. I opened Twitter first, and then I saw that Chris Lane from Venturi 3D's Kickstarter was going. I had to go read that. And then I was like, oh crap, I got like 6 minutes to get up the stairs, get OBS turned on, and get started. So we've been iterating the truck design this morning, because there are some problems with it, and some problems that were made evident to me by somebody finally making the truck, you know, other than me, because I was able to pass some of my problems off on the fact that I had to slice my model apart even more and print it in tiny little pieces, because I was printing it on Trunks EX1. And you know, I was like, well, there's some warpage and some fitment issues with every part. So, you know, the problem I'm having here could be based on that, and that may be why I'm having that problem. And so seeing somebody print it, that did a phenomenal job, like Roy Hawley did when he printed it, and printed the pieces, the truck in the pieces that are intended for it to be printed in, and him having some of the same issues, then I knew it was time to go back and iterate the design. And so that's what I've been working on this morning. He wanted the grill to have a different height level for the headlight and the turn signals, so that he could print those in multiple colors. And I have done that, which he did a phenomenal job. He printed the like grill insert was black, and then the grill changed color to was it orange or blue? I forget. I'd have to pull up his image again. I will. And then he had the lights in another color, but because they were the same height, they were the same color. So I adjusted the height on those so that he could make the turn signals one color and the headlights another. Oh, you can see here, I was watching a video on legitimate ways to get more subs. not some of those people that have done it the not legitimate way. and I need to take that guy's advice. He had some good pointers. And then I was looking, the Wanhao D9 500 was out. I was curious how much it costs. It's $1,000, which, like I said earlier, if I was going to spend $1,000 on a printer right now, I'd be back in Venturi 3D. Um, so far, I like Inland. I do. The webcam close up. My dumpster was printed in the Egyptian blue, Inland PLA. I did use some plastic quality spray paint to spray paint the lids before I put them on. And yeah, my lids do need a little iteration, and I know that from my design, but I can open them and close them. They're lids, and they do what they're supposed to do. They may not be perfect. Yeah, they could be better, for sure. But I find that opening and closing them works fine as long as you just kind of put your finger here and brace it before you open or close it. And it does what it's supposed to do. But yeah, they do pop off fairly easy because the hinge is very thin, and I need to work on thickening it up and getting it to clamp better. And maybe if I raise the height of this little bar here up a little bit, I was thinking I might be able to do it as a print in place hinge and wrap it all the way around. But then in order to avoid it wanting to fill the whole inside of the box with supports in order to support the underside of the thing, I would almost have to print it so that the lid was vertical, because then you could still print it bottom side down and it wouldn't have to fill up the inside of the dumpster with supports, and it would just print on up the lid. And then the only supports you'd have to break free are the ones on the hinge, on the bottom side of the hinge. Break those free, and then it would be a solid one-piece deal. So it would require more time to print because you're printing the length of the hinge, or the length of the lid vertically like that, and it would also increase the build volume required for the print. But I think it could all be done in one piece that way, and I think most people would probably prefer that, because most people have a machine that has that necessary build volume to do it. But the guy that bashed the dumpster, and when and his came out looking really nice because he painted it up, and weathered it and stuff. Mine looks like a brand new dumpster. Nice. Thank you, Roy. I appreciate it, man. I do. I really do. I appreciate you printing it, the other truck, in the first place. I really do. It's so surreal still seeing something that I designed being printed by other people. It feels good. It does. And so now I kind of understand. I understand what they talk about when people get excited when people print their designs, and yeah, thank you for that, Roy. I appreciate it. Yeah, I like the Inland filament, but because the imperfections you see here are mostly because my Tronxy is not the greatest printer in the world. I mean, it printed okay, but you can definitely see some waves and stuff in it. Chris Riley was advising me on what problems I could be having. Because I've got some waves in the surface and they come at a regular interval. So he was telling me it could be the pulleys on my belt. So I need to check that out. Well, thank you, Red Light. Yeah, it you know it feels good when you see other people printing your stuff, and then when they get on Thingiverse and they post a make and they bash it, it hurts a little. It does, but I've got a thick skin. It's okay. The guy that printed the dumpster. Let's see here. I mean, he did it. Oh, I'm not on screen share. There we go. The guy that printed the dumpster, he did, a nice job doing the finishing paintwork and stuff on it. It looks great. Even put a little no parking sign on it. Do not block dumpster. So it was cool. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed getting to see that. And then he went on to tell me that he wishes the model, or he said, I wish the model was better, and I found another one. You should print this one instead to people. So I was like, ah. So that just means I need to up my game. I need to fix it, and so maybe we can we can figure that out together. I don't know. So let's see. Save that. Now open. It's under accessories container. See, this is the one that I was attempting to make as a single piece print, but I think the problem I'm going to run into is I need to raise that up so that I can make these thicker. Raise up the bar a little bit. But that's going to have to actually make me reshape the lid a little bit too. So I mean, I could try it as is. It might print. I don't know. Or I could just upload it as is and let other people print it. Would that be wrong of me? 20 hours at a 0.15 layer height. Wow. Yeah, my estimate was 14 hours on my Cura slicer for my ANET A8, and then Idea Maker was a 31 hour estimate. So yeah, I don't know if that will. I mean, what do you guys think? You think that will work as far as printing if I just have it completely enclosed print and place hinge like that, and print as one piece with the lids vertical? Yeah, that's one concern, Roy. That is, and I won't know until I try it. Because I've done print and place hinges to test already, and this also got my grandson got a hold of and ripped this one off. But this door here, actually he ripped both of them off, but this one was I was able to slide it back in. This door here was with the same print and place hinge design. Now I did tighten the tolerances a little bit because this one is kind of you can see here is a little bit floppy. So I slightly tightened the tolerances, hoping that it would still be able to break free, but would be a little smoother, a little more solid. This is a print in place hinge for the door on my Jeep that I've been working on, and I got to reprint this part now because my grandson destroyed it. But, you know, speaking of iterations, you know, we talk about iterating design, and that lid has already gone through several iterations. The lid on the dumpster, the lid on the dumpster has already gone through a few iterations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, you know, it's a quick, oh, nope, 6. It's a quick and easy print, so it's not that big a deal. It's like 35 minutes, something like that, 35, 40 minutes to print out the lids. So I was trying to fix it and print it better. And when I got it where it was functional at all, like this one, when I got it where it was doing its job, I went ahead and uploaded it to Thingiverse. That didn't mean it wasn't still a work in progress. It is still a work in progress. All of my stuff is a work in progress. And I try to be, you know, upfront with that. But I find as long as I support the hinge a little bit in the back, now it opens fine. And it's, the dumpster is not really a toy, it's more of a diorama piece. And that's kind of what, and for a diorama piece, it does its job beautifully, I think. Oh, I'm tempted. Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's Fernando Pena. Good morning, Fernando. Good morning, Minnesota Maker. Xander Fun King thinks he says it makes everybody feel less when Fernando gets a special introduction. But Fernando has just such a cool name to say that way. Yeah, 100% infill benchy, and your sister managed to break it. Wow, dude. Better than Walter? Oh, I don't know about that. If I really got loud on it, I could probably wake up everybody. My son's still asleep. I could wake him up at the other end of the house. Do like Michael Buffer that does all the used to do all the fight. You know, in the red corner. Let's get ready to rumble. Sorry to headphone users. Rest in peace, your eardrums. Oh. And that was only about a third volume. I could get much louder. That's the thing about being a singer for a living, is you learn how to project. That was funny one time when Walter did. Are you saying it's getting old, Matrix? Are you saying you tired of it? Fernando's not tired of it. Xander's tired of it on Fun King. He's tired of it. Oh, no. Okay. Fernando just has such a cool name, though. That is a cool name. Fernando Pena. Yes, 3D Maker Kid, I am a singer for a living. I have been a singer for a living full-time since July 15th of 2009. But I've been a singer and been on stages since I was 13 years old, so 28 years ago. Yeah, Matrix just doesn't like Fernando when Fernando gets announced like that because it wakes him up. He's in the middle of his nap. But no, yeah, I've been a singer since I was 13 years old. I got my start playing Opries around the Kansas City area where I grew up, and I spent majority of my existence being a weekend warrior type, where I was working a day job Monday through Friday, and then playing Friday and Saturday nights, and Sunday afternoons at wineries and stuff like that. And then July 15th of 2009, I was a lead PHP developer. I showed up to work, and there were a bunch of boxes stacked up outside the back door. And I got out of my car, and boss met me in the parking lot and told me the boxes was my stuff. So they had outsourced my job, and my job was gone. And I called my wife, and I said, "Honey, what are we going to do?" And she said, "Well, you'll get unemployment, and you've always wanted to make music for a living. You have until the unemployment runs out to make music, make ends meet." So um, we set out to work, and we did exactly that. And I say we because my wife is just as big a part of it as I am. Um, she until we moved to Nashville was my personal manager as well. So she fielded a lot of the phone calls and wrote the contracts and all that kind of stuff. And and that's largely because the artist can't be the one to deal with a lot of those things. You need somebody else to deal with some of the business stuff. The artist can't be the one, because whenever there's in business, at times there's times where you kind of have to be a jerk. You have to. There's no way around it, because otherwise you're not going to get the things that are owed to you, and the things that have been promised to you. And so sometimes you have to be a jerk, and the artist can't be the jerk, because if the artist is a jerk, then it becomes a business liability for an artist to be uh, thought of in that way. And so my wife was the one, and God bless her heart for it. She was the one that when it was time for tough phone calls, or to a business, or to a fair or festival, or dealing with the paperwork, and or dealing with a problem where something that was promised to us was not delivered. She dealt with all that stuff. So she's amazing, and I would not be where I am today without the support of a wonderful woman. So, yeah, I've said it many times. I married my best friend, and I did, and she is my best friend, and she is my partner in every sense of the word. So, ooh, Roy, you're giving me something to think about there. I wonder, because Blender's not real good at those precise measurements. I wonder if I can take and export the file in another format and open it with uh, Fusion 360, and then do the more precise, like, mechanical parts and stuff. I am Fernando. I'm a very lucky man. I'm a very lucky man. I've been married to my best friend for over 17 years, and been with her for over 18. And she keeps going to she keeps going to a job that provides us with health insurance and things like that, not just another income, so that I can continue to do what I do. Because being a musician for a living, there is no health insurance, there is no retirement plan, there's none of that. And so she goes to a job that has all that stuff. When you know, she used to work in radio, and she would like nothing more than to be working in radio again. But radio is the same way as my job. There's no real retirement and health insurance and all that kind of stuff. Radio does not take care of its people very well. Match up with the holes in the frame connectors. That, yeah. That's a great idea, Roy. And I'm wondering if I couldn't export. Okay, so let's do this. Let's both learn something today. Or all. Let me minimize all this down. Let me open Fusion 360. Which I guess you don't need to look at my desktop while I open Fusion 360. I'll get it open, then we'll switch back to screen share. I'm going to open Fusion 360 and we'll see what it has options-wise. Because, see, I'm extremely new to it. See if it has any options for importing files and what formats that it imports, and then go back over to Blender and see if we can export a file in that format. Because it would be awesome if we could get Blender and Fusion 360 to play together, because there are some things that I either don't know how to do in Fusion, or maybe Fusion doesn't do, that I can do in Blender. And then there are things that Blender can do but isn't good at, that Fusion 360 is. So if we could somehow, I guess, marry the two, as it were. Which I just lost my... Okay. Yeah, the plans with all of my designs, Roy, is to go back and start making, once the base design is, the iterations are done and it's solid, then I want to go back and I want to, everything is being designed modularly. Now, I could have done all of this stuff so that it was simpler, fewer pieces. But in the process, it would have lost some of its the modular abilities that I have planned for it, because I want to go back and for that truck where you can just print the cab and the wheels and the grill and bumpers and stuff, and then you just print a different back piece for it that makes it connect to a trailer to be a semi-trailer hauling deal, and then design a trailer. Then it's modular. It's just changing out one piece. Everything else has already been designed. It's changing out one piece, and then you print a trailer to go with it, and you've got a 18-wheeler. A cement mixer back end for it. I want to make a dump truck back end for it. And then modular design-wise, some different front ends for it, some different grills for it. And all that stuff is modular. So the ultimate end goal is to be able to sit down with a list of files and just select the ones you want to print out a truck how you want it to print. And so say you wanted to print a semi with the trailer and all that, you would be able to pull it up and you go, okay, I want this front clip, I want this cab, I want this interior, and just choose as you go down the list which parts you want to print, and you print exactly the way you want it to, print exactly the parts you want to print them out, put it together, and you're ready to go. And all the stuff is interchangeable. So say 3-4 months down the line, I come out with another front end that you like better, and you go, ooh, I like that front end better. Now you don't have to reprint the whole truck. You take the front end that you had on there off, print the new one, put it on, and there you go. Thanks for stopping by, Mike. Red light, be safe in that crane. Be careful. Good morning, Brian Vines. Yes, everything is G.I. Joe scale because I am a toy collector. I like toys. I'm a big kid. So they're scaled for a 4-inch action figure. I need to finish logging into Fusion 360 right here. Oh, crap. Okay. They're going to text me a code. There it is. Sometimes that's annoying. Fusion 360, you go to log in and they got, and it doesn't happen every time, but sometimes they got to text you a verification code. But I understand it's a security thing. Fernando, I don't, Brian's name is cool and all, but I don't think it works as well. I mean, you could do it, but the other half is red and blue lasers that never hit anything. No one ever gets hurt. It's the safest war to ever be in. Unless you're Duke in the movie. They managed to kill, Serpentor kills him. Well, but then they edited the movie there at the very end. He's going to be okay. Hasbro doesn't learn because they make the same mistakes over and over again. They killed off Duke in the G.I. Joe movie, and people were people were going to hit the roof about that. So that they went back and edited the movie at the very end because it was getting a horrible pre-screenings, and for them to go, that was Doc on the phone. Duke's going to be okay. It's like he didn't look like he was going to be okay last time we saw him. How did that happen? So they stuck that in at the end because originally they'd killed him off. And they didn't learn from the Transformers animated movie back in 1986 when they killed off Optimus Prime. No, Roy, don't worry about it, dude. I want to make better designs. I'm not an expert. I'm not a professional by any means, and so I want to make better designs. And the way that that's going to happen is you guys that are printing, boots on the ground. You're out there printing the stuff. Is to let me know what's wrong, and I will try to fix it. And I'm not saying I'll be able to fix every problem that comes up, but I will do my best. All right, so we got Fusion 360 open. See my chat. We got Fusion 360 open. File. It does export, but I'm not seeing any import. Does Fusion 360 not do import? Can you not import something? Huh. Wow. Good morning, Sean. Oh yeah, the 86 Transformers, I still enjoy it to this day. I've watched it numerous times. Yeah, I seen that, Sean. Thank you for sending him my way. I did. I picked up a new subscriber. So, yeah, in fact, I could probably just modify the MVS truck design to suit whatever it is that he's looking for. Well, that's a limitation of Fusion 360 then. Should be done about 4 a.m. Dude. See, this is why I don't. This is why I don't. I don't get to print a lot of my stuff, because I have the two printers I have back here. I don't trust them to print when I'm not able to sit and watch them, and I hate to tie myself to this room for that many hours. Yes, we know you are at work and you can only type in caps at work. So yes, a 3D Maker Kid, his work requires him to be in all caps at all times. Top right menu, insert. Top right menu. Insert. Oh, okay. Okay. Insert mesh. OBJ or STL mesh files into the active design. Okay. Thank you, David. So then we're going to go to desktop. Let's just bring in the cab real quick and see what it does. Oh, it brought it in. There it is. Oh, I still don't know what I'm doing here. Escape. I have not learned enough of Fusion 360 yet. Okay, well now that I can bring the cab in here, I could probably take and do just that, like you were talking about, the doing capture nut inserts. Yeah, well, like I said, I've only went through Lars' tutorial on Fusion 360, so I haven't the one tutorial, the 3-part tutorial. I haven't touched it other than that. So but yeah, that's just knowing that I can open it here. Now that I can like save it in a STL or an OBJ, either one, and because I think I can export both in Blender. That I could design something in Blender, bring it over here, do the structural more highly precise measurements that are necessary over here, because there's some stuff that Blender does that I Fusion 360 is capable of. Yes, capable of, but it doesn't do it as fluidly or as quickly or as easily. Yeah, David, I'm gonna have to pick your brain about this stuff, man. You seem like you know more about this stuff than I do. Turn it into a B-rep. Left-hand side, top gray. Right-click on that and turn off capture history. Turn off capture history. And mesh to B-rep. Oh, okay, cool. See, I learned something. That's what we're here for. We're all going to learn together and do stuff together. Oh, thanks, Roy. You know, I noticed when I printed mine out that sometimes some of the stuff that I had to file on it a little bit or sand on it a little bit, the mating surfaces for them to go together easily. So, um, and I did take a look at the wheel and axle. Um, and I need to make some modifications there. My dog is being crazy. What are you doing, Joey? Joey, come here. Quit that. He's over on the futon wallering. Yeah, yeah, David. I'd love to pick your brain about some of that stuff. So, because you obviously haven't played with this before. Because, like I said, all I've done is I went through Lars' 3-part tutorial. I built a little, it looked like an electrical conduit box or whatever it was. Bringing it in as an SDL, the mesh is a little bit of a mess. Take it easy, Joe. Thanks for stopping by, man. But it's just good to know that the two programs can play together so that if I need to, yeah, I'm not doing anything to this right now, but just knowing that the two programs can play together, that's great. So there you go, folks. We learned something today. You can uh, export something in Blender as an STL or an OBJ, bring it into Fusion 360, convert it to a BREP, and then it's an object you can play with. Okay, cool. Oh, looky there. I highlighted a triangle like he said. I clicked on it, I hit delete, and it smoothed out the surface. Look at that. David Olson, sir. You are my hero. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Look at that. Look at how clean that makes everything quickly and easily. Just highlight one of those little triangles. Click on it. Hit delete. It cleans it right up. Uh-oh. Selected face could not be deleted. Try that one. Here we go. It doesn't like to delete that one. It says no. Oh, I guess because somehow it was tied to that face down there. I'm not really doing anything here. I'm just playing right now. Sorry, guys. Discover something new. I want to see what it does. Look at that. That's David Olson. Thank you, sir. I just know that this is going to come in very, very handy. I am having fun. It doesn't take much. It doesn't take much to amuse me. I'm like Walter today, drinking the choice of a new generation. My can has Ray Charles on it. Yeah, when you select those triangles and all you do is hit delete, it just cleans it right up, man. That's awesome. Cool. So I'll be able to bring stuff in, and whenever I learn Fusion better, I'll be able to add things like capture nuts and threads more easily. I could do threaded screw holes and things like that that are set to an exacting size. You know, because I can even bring stuff in from the McMaster car catalog and fit it. Now that I can do this, that is cool. That's going to make things that's kind of a game changer. It's going to make things a lot more interesting. Hashtag Joey the dog. We've got to get one of those in there, don't we, Joe? Don't we, Joe? He's like, put me down, Dad. I don't want to be on screen. Say hi to everybody. Hi. Yeah, taking stuff out of context, it can get you in trouble too. You need heat sinks on your motors on which printer? On CR10? Huh. I I don't think I've ever heard anybody have that issue with a CR10. So I mean, I've seen some guys do some like week-long prints on them. So then I can turn around and export it again, and then okay, cool. Okay, so I'm not saving any of this. Don't save. Close that, because I'm not really doing anything to the cab right now anyway. You're over here in Blender. Oh, yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anybody running at a CR10 at that speed, man. That's crazy. At that speed, do you get ringing and ghosting and all that from the inertia of the bed being thrown back and forth that fast? Because it seems like most of the people that I see get the best quality prints off the CR10 are printing at like 40, 50 millimeters a second. And on somebody's print, I saw that they wanted real fine detail on, so they ran it at like 30 millimeters a second because they didn't want the ringing or ghosting from the bed inertia to cause a problem. And 3D Maker Kit. That this brings up an excellent point. Um, Mike Whaley, Wiley's 3D, has a morning show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and he did Tuesday and Thursday last week, filling in for me while I was on vacation, and I appreciate that very much, Mike. That you gave the 3D community someplace to go and hang out, even on the days that I normally am supposed to do this. But every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, Mike Whaley has his morning show over on his channel on Wiley's 3D, and it focuses around fixing printers, and it's really cool because he does Google Hangouts. So 3D Maker Kid, that might be a good place for you to go stop in tomorrow with Mike Whaley and join him via Google Hangouts and look at your printer and see, if you can't, make some adjustments or modifications necessary to maybe help you out. Oh, okay. He was on your show last week, Mike. Cool. So yeah, hop on Mike's show tomorrow and maybe you can fix it on stream in the morning. That'd be cool. Well, it is kind of like TV for me, Sean, because I never watch TV. Occasionally, I'll there's a show that I'll have interest in on like Netflix, and I'll sit and I'll binge watch it. And then other than that, I don't watch TV. Like the last thing I watched was I binge watched Lost in Space a couple weeks ago. Finally got around to it. Oh, you're welcome, Mike. We're all in this together, brother. I've been on TV before, Sean, several times, just not on a regular basis. I've been a guest on I've been a guest on the morning show in St. Louis several times with my band, and even did some interviews and stuff with them. So usually it was yeah, I did it several years for in September in St. Louis every year. The Sunday before September 11th in St. Louis, Missouri, we do a concert, and it's put together by my buddy Johnny Holsom, who is the band leader of a band called the Well Hungarians in St. Louis, and it's a great event. It's an all day long event. Um, it's only $5 to get in, and there's like 8 or 9 bands and like 5 or 6 acoustic acts, and there's raffles and all that, and all the benefits go to all the proceeds go to benefit the USO of Missouri. So we raise around 10 grand or so for the USO of Missouri every year doing that, because the USO of Missouri does not get its funding from the national USO. It relies on private donation to uh, to take care of the troops that pass through the state of Missouri. So it's a very worthwhile cause. So if you're ever in the St. Louis area, in September, the Sunday before September 11th, it's certainly a worthwhile thing to go and be a part of. And you get to watch. It's called the Country Family Reunion. You get to watch country music all day long from multiple bands and solo acoustic performers for $5, and all the proceeds go to benefit the USO of Missouri. It's great. It's awesome. Yeah, yeah, the Well Hungarians. I've got a shirt of theirs that I wear every once in a while. They've been around for a long time. Um, the band was established in 1993. Yeah, 1993, and right now they're up for induction into the St. Louis Music Hall of Fame, because they've been in the St. Louis area since 1993, and they're the number one country band in St. Louis, and have been for decades. When I was there, I like to feel like I made an impact, but I was never number one. They've been number one forever. Wander around the office. Wander around the office and look like you're doing something. So anyway, on the subject we were talking about earlier about modular design, So yeah, I could have printed the bed or designed the bed so that it printed all together as one piece, but then it would have been, you would have been stuck printing that bed for the truck no matter what. So what I did instead was I designed it so that I can come back in here to the design, strip it down to this point, and I can design a different back end. Like I said, whether I put one of the connectors in there to connect it to a semi-trailer, or a cement mixer, or a dump bed for a dump truck, because this design is generic enough that it can handle all of that. And then can design different front clips, and it's just a matter of replacing the front clip, and you got a whole different truck. So that was my idea from the beginning, was to make everything as modular as possible, so that it gives people the options to customize and individualize their project. And eventually be talking about between 5 or 6 different front clips and different interiors you can choose from, and different configurations for the back end. It would be nearly limitless, the number of different ways it could be printed out and put together, which is why I want to go in at some point and see if I can figure out a way to take the bottom pieces with the all this and convert it to accept the drivetrain from Daniel Noray's open RC stuff. And then I would certainly attribute him in it. If I could make an MVS compatible open RC drivetrain, and then you could put in open RC components onto any one of my MVS designs by just printing the pieces, having the motors and batteries, and put it together. All right, yeah, I'll see you over on Discord here in a bit, David, because I'm only about 17 minutes before wrapping this up anyway. But yeah, so yeah, if I can get Daniel Noray's open RC stuff, which I mean, because someone said, well, just design your own. I'm like, well, there's already one that's out there that's 3D printable, that works, and that we know works, and is tried and true and tested. Why not take that and modify it? Because it has the, just like my stuff, it's free to remix and use as anybody sees fit, as long as proper attribution is made. So if I could, but I probably almost need to print an open RC car and put it together so I can see how it all works, and then I can wrap my head around how I could integrate it into the frame system for this, and then someone could even choose to print the pieces, the components necessary for that, and make this truck an RC truck. How cool would that be? Yeah, I don't have any I don't have any extra anything for you to make a kid. Sorry, man. One of the drawbacks to being a musician for a living, there's never extra, and unless there's never extra until there's excess, because there's no in between for a musician. You're either just doing what you got to do to get by, or you're filthy stinking rich. There's no in between. It's like that Jason Aldean song says, one year they repossess your truck, the next you make a couple $1,000,000. It's a crazy town. And that's the it's the town I call home now. Well, actually I call Clarksville home, but I call Nashville where I go and work and do what I love to do, and I do it, every night. I don't know. That's a good question, Roy. Because I joined Thingiverse before I had anything to put on it, so I couldn't tell you. I joined Thingiverse before I even had this channel and stuff. That's why my Thingiverse is Tanner Designs instead of Tanner 3D. And I don't even know if Tanner 3D would have been available, but I had named my website and my channel and all that after I had a Thingiverse page. Why don't you have to join to put up models? Do they count make as a model? Yeah, I guess they probably would. Or you're uploading a file before you could upload anything. Yeah, I assume that's probably the problem, Roy. Yeah, Roy printed this truck that we're all looking at right now. And he printed it in Florida Gator colors and put a Florida Gator logo on it and Country 3D emblem logo on the doors. And he did it all like multicolor by printing it multiple layers and stuff, and it turned out really cool. You did a phenomenal job with that, Roy. You put a lot of time and effort into printing that, brother, and I truly appreciate that. That it looks great. Take it easy, Sean. Thank you for stopping by. God bless you, brother. We're almost wrapped up here anyway. We'll see you on the flip side, man. So yeah, that's future plans. Because if I can keep the modular level of design on this, and I can integrate OpenRC into it, I mean, it would be cool because then people could print out an OpenRC dump truck or OpenRC cement mixer, excuse me, military truck, semi, which that'd be cool. That'd be cool. You're towing around a big long trailer, which I've already had. Where did I put those? Is that in unsorted? Yeah, there's a kind of futuristic truck I was designing, which how neat would it be to be able to make that thing OpenRC, right? Of course, I think the problem there would be needing to make both of those front wheels turn. Both sets. What is that doing on that? Somehow that ended up on the wrong layer. So now, there, that's what it's supposed to look like. I was like, something's missing. I haven't built the interior yet. So that's one of the future projects that vehicle designs that will be coming in the future whenever I get around to finishing it. You know, I wouldn't say bored, but I get restless working on the same design for too long. So then I start working on another new design, and so I bounce around from one to the other. I've got like design ADHD like you wouldn't believe. And so I bounce around from one to the other and work on each one a little bit until eventually they start getting done. And one of these days I'm going to catch up to a point where there's going to be several of them start coming together all at once. Because I get restless, you know. I sit here and I'm like, I can't look at this anymore because I'll hit a block I'll hit a block where nothing's making sense, and nothing that I try to design for it or make for it looks the way I want it to look. And if I don't step away from it and go do something else, I'm going to stop on this anyway, because I'm not liking what I'm doing. So if I've dedicated the time to sit down and do some modeling, I'm going to start on another project whenever I hit a roadblock with one that I'm on. So again, that's why I don't, haven't considered doing a lot of commission work, because if I hit that creative block moment, I would feel obligated to sit there and keep plugging away at it, even though I've reached a creative block with it. Because this for me was one of my more creative designs. It was unique. It's loosely based off of the military trucks that I'm sure you've all seen. But oh, no, that's not it. But talking about a design being modular, this is based off the exact same design as that truck that you just saw. And it's just a matter of printing different components. You would print this version instead. And this one's, an APC, an armored personnel carrier. If this slows down or makes the stream buggy, it's very this rendering is very resource intensive. I'm gonna try it though, crossing my fingers. Yeah, the goal when I sat down with this was just to make some sort of futuristic sci-fi vehicle. And this is what I came up with. So how's the stream while I'm doing this? Does it get all choppy? Because rendering in Blender will suck down all your system resources. I guess it doesn't touch your internet stuff, but it sucks down your CPU and your memory big time. Which is why in the future I still need to get myself a high-end PC. Because rendering gives you a little better idea of what it's going to look like real world. And I'll hit escape so it'll stop rendering once we get, more of the vehicle in view. And give us that system resources back. Almost there. There we go. All right, I'll stop that. Give us our system resources back. So you can see, rendered. It gives you a little more better, little better idea what it's going to look like real world. So yeah, I'm excited about this one. I want to print it, but it's going to be large, so I really do need a larger format printer before I do. So I'm leaning towards the Anycubic Chiron because it looks great, and I think that's what I'm going to go with so that I can print stuff like this. Because I would have to slice this up into ridiculously small pieces and try to glue it all together and get everything to line up the way it is now. And it's just never going to work out on the printers I have. So anyhow, yeah, some of the designs that I'm working on, and I bounce around a lot. So sorry for that. Like I said, I got, you know, like some design ADHD going on. This is the Jeep that I was showing you that I've already started printing on, and my grandson broke the door off, but it has print in place hinges. Thank you, Roy. I appreciate that, man. I really do. I appreciate you know, all the hard work you put into making that truck, and I'm hoping that the iterations that I've made to the cab make the cab work better. So yeah, this is I've started printing this Jeep. You can see here in the real world. It's the door. And so it has print in place hinges, and that's the same hinge design that I used, that I just stuck into the MVS truck and scaled appropriately. I'm on a different level, I think. Open on components. Because I find stuff like that, like a hinge, is something I'm going to use fairly often. So what I did is as I designed it and got it to work the first time, I saved it in its own file. So here I have the hinge all alone in a file. I saved it under components, because I can take this same hinge now and I can copy it and then open the vehicle I'm working on, paste it in, and then I can just merge those parts to the parts in the vehicle I'm working on. So I can now easily insert and use this hinge into any project I'm working on. So the Jeep is it's not quite ready. It's not quite ready. I'm still doing R&D on some stuff on it. If I can find the parts after my grandson got finished with them. The R&D that is still in progress is I want this Jeep to have functional suspension. So I'm still working on a leaf spring design that will work in PLA, which is the challenge I'm having right now. That will work in PLA, that I can put the axle. We'll go back to the webcam close up and get this so I can see my chat again. So as you can see, that I can put the axle in here, in the axle carriage. Get that turn the right way. The axle in the axle carriage, and that will allow that to spring back and forth. And maybe even if I find the right design, be all able to be printed in place as one piece. That would be really cool. I did some regular, like standard leaf spring designs, but in PLA they're too brittle. So I'm experimenting with some other spring designs. My dog's making that sound like he's gonna puke. Don't puke. Don't puke. I don't want to clean that up. Don't puke. Or if you're going to, go on the hardwood. I can clean that up easier. All right, well, it's 10 o'clock, everybody. But yeah, so the Jeep in process. Please don't let my dog puke. We're working on the suspension, and I'm going to try some different spring designs. I showed you how I save components individually, hinges and things like that, so that I can reuse them on other models. So the next time I make a vehicle and I want to hinge the door, all I got to do is just open this hinge up, copy, paste it in, and add it to the design. And so that's the goal as I continue forward with this stuff, is to save individual pieces that will be reusable on other parts to speed up the modeling process, so I can start cranking out parts and cranking out vehicles like crazy. Several of them are 3D Maker Kit. Just do a search for Tanner Designs. I believe I might have the link in the description. I haven't looked to make sure. But Tanner Designs on Thingiverse. And my truck that Roy Holly printed is there, and Roy did a phenomenal job with it. Thank you again for printing the second version of the cab, Roy. I hope it works well. I hope that the print in place hinges work well for that. And thank you for bringing to my attention that if I change the height on the turn signals on the grill, that you could do the multicolor print better with it. So yeah, there's a step van delivery truck up there. There is the MVS military truck, the MVS transit bus, which that one would take a lot of time and a lot of filament. And I realize that when I get a bigger printer, I'm going to do it. I am. So maybe in the future when I get that shear on, I will do that. But yes, I would like to sit down and print out some small scale versions of his springs and see if they will do what I need them to do, because that would be great. I saw that, Scott. And Scott, you show up just at the end, or have you been lurking in the background the whole time? Because we're getting ready to wrap this thing up. But I hope you all, had fun today hanging out. And I know we didn't do a lot of design, but we looked at some stuff. We talked about some design concepts. We talked about, like I said, saving individual components so that you can use them again. That's it will speed up your future design processes. So if you design something that you like, and that's a piece of something, especially hinges, springs. I'm drawing a blank right now, but all sorts of things like that. The gun turret design that's on the back of the Jeep, I saved it as a separate piece, and that same gun turret got implemented into the APC that I designed. So anything that you can save that's a modular piece, save it as a separate file, and try to organize your file structure so that the stuff's easy to find. Wheels and tires, if you're making vehicles, save them separately, because you can import those and use those again without having to go through and spend the time to design them from scratch. The other thing Ivan Miranda does that has done is tank treads, and I need tank treads. I do, because in the future I want to make some tanks, and that'll be another one of those components that whenever I get them done, it'll be, you save that tank tread and you just rescale that same tank tread design over and over again. I'm sorry you got here just at the end, man. I feel bad now. I feel like I should go a little longer. But I know there's probably some people already sitting over there in Discord going, "Where's he at? Where's he at? He said he'd be here." Because we go hang out over in Walter's Discord, the Country Club Discord. And because, well, I don't see a point in setting up my own when Walter's fine with us using his. If it comes to a point where Walter doesn't want us to use his, and that may happen. I mean, and I wouldn't blame him for it, because it is his Discord. But I think we're cross-promoting each other that way, because I'm telling you, y'all be sure to check out Walter if you don't already, but I know all the people in here do. Country 3D, he streams in the evenings, so I'll see you guys if I don't see you over in the Discord, I will hang out with you guys. Walter's doing country time this evening, right? From